This was the week where the presidential pardons rolled on in a very real who's who of white-collar criminals and mass murderers, all very Hague chic. Pardons include former Blackwater employees who killed or wounded 31 Iraqi civilians, law enforcement officials that did things like beat an undocumented immigrant or sick a canine on a homeless person, corrupt Republicans and lawmakers and Trump loyalists and donors like former Representative Duncan Hunter.
Really? Duncan Hunter got pardoned? God,
and his wife. Jared Kushner's dad, Charles Kushner, and of course, everyone convicted of lying to the FBI in the Trump-Russia investigation, including Paul Manafort and Roger Stone. And like the way that the pardon power is being abused right now just makes you realize how much the founding fathers were no better than like kids in a treehouse just making up self-flagellating rules for governance. You're like, so like as long as one of us is president, as long as like, you know, we're like the white landowning, the good guys, you know, like maybe we've got slaves, then the nation is good, you know, so like no need to worry. And, you know, there will never be a more powerful gun than the musket. like that level. They were just like, who the fuck invents pardon power? And with no stipulations? Like, I hate all the like, well, can he do that? It's like, fucking, I don't know.
Yeah, they very clearly just came from like monarchy to republicanism. Like, and it's clear when they were like, well, of course, we're going to have the power to pardon literally anyone in the executive branch. And one person was probably like, what about the right of prima nocta? That's where the king can fuck any bride right before they get married. And they were like, okay, no prima nocta, but we can do pardon power. Those are the rules.
Prima nocta.
Yeah,
that's the name of this podcast. Definitely the name of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, Tej, you're a historian. What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I we'll see the numbers, but I think at least as of before this last round, but even maybe now, Trump has done actually less clemency than any president since the 1800s.
Wow.
You know, he might do a bunch more. Of course, it'll be very weighted to horrible 1%, you know, people. But he's done less than any president since the 1800s of late. And this is also happening, we have to understand, as he is doing more federal executions in 1 year than any president since the 1800s. So these two things are, you know, whenever we say what is truly unprecedented and then we debate, well, actually other presidents are bad too. These two things are actually not since the 1800s. And I mean, I think it just really distills a lot of what he's about, which follows from a lot of Republican you know, tradition in recent decades, but he's really distilled it purely where it's, you know, total license for my team, for the winners, and total impunity, even from anything, and total no mercy and no rights for others. And I mean, I think just the connections are so, I mean, you can tell a story of sort of the modern right through his clemencies, you know, like Roger Stone, Nixon strategist, through like Paul Manafort, who was doing all the like offshoring deals for Reagan in Mobutu and Savimbi and Marcos, through Scooter Libby, who is like really one of the most important figures of the sort of neocon, you know, regime, as much as Rumsfeld or Cheney, Scooter Libby, and then, you know, the Blackwater massacre.
That name too.
In 2007, you know, which is just such a clear message to Iraqis and to the world. I mean, it's just such a story of sort of neocon and Kissinger, you know, power, domestic and foreign. And he also did several for domestic law enforcement, right? For a cop who sicked a dog on a homeless person. Yep. For I think either border patrol or ICE. You know, who assaulted an undocumented person. So I think just that clear message, you know, and it's something we really have to say with that and the executions that he's carrying out. It's not just symbolic or just like, oh, that's bad too. I mean, this has very real significance and very real impact for sort of the culture and future policy. It's
it's
not
like all these people are out anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not serving time.
Was Charles
some of them
Kushner, was he out?
He served 2 years, I believe, or was facing 2 years. I can't remember how much he served, but it is, completely wiping the slate. But if it weren't, like if these were like, it's funny because these people are already loose, but if you think about like their net evil in the world, like if they were just like a prison break, where normally it'd be like, oh, okay, drug offenders and, people who didn't pay their debts or maybe a rapist in there or whatever. Like that's far less frightening than these motherfuckers, these like international war criminal, back dealing, swindling however many, people out of tax money, out of their payments. Like this is the worst.
It would be like if those like 3 Kryptonian bad guys from Superman like escaped that that 2-dimensional like shadow realm thing.
No.
Oh, this is a very specific Superman reference.
Which one was that?
I think it was part 2. It was the one where like there's like 3 guys. They're all from Krypton. They all wear black. One of them's Russian for no reason, and they're in this like square, but they escape, and then they're fighting Superman. I feel like I'm being very crystal clear on what this is. Basically, it's a super villain prison break.
Fiddlin' Nero on Twitch says
Phantom Zone. Remember, they get out of the Phantom Zone. This is like all of those fools escaped out of the Phantom Zone. We would all be like, oh shit, call the National Guard. But because he's doing it piecemeal and he's doing it with people who are already out, we're like, oh, that's
just white collar criminals
lame,
or
dude.
People who never ever see any, because these are. Yeah, so it's interesting because you're saying there's like a historic low clemency granting or pardoning, which isn't the same thing, but from this president, it's just that the people he is actually pardoning are the worst.
Yeah.
And usually, and he's executing people who under other presidencies, yes, there were exceptions. Clinton like pardoned his, like brother-in-law or some shit for cocaine. But like usually it's those folks who are on death row or like those folks who are in prison who might get clemency or who are out but they want their record absolved because they were innocent.
Mm-hmm.
He's putting those people to death at this point
absolutely.
at an unprecedented rate.
Absolutely. And I mean him and William Barr, who was a Iran-Contra Reagan official. I mean, it's a very clear message to the 1% neocon operatives, and it's a clear message to the 2 million people that are locked up in this country who, other presidents would do a token, let's let out some people, nonviolent drug offenses. Let's do, a couple dozen of those. And, we will see if he does. And, I certainly sympathize with any individuals that might benefit, but it doesn't look like it so far. So it's just a very, very clear message of that. I mean, this is a mass incarceration, on steroids vision to pardon these people and give clemency to these people.
Hey, you made it to the end of the clip. That's probably because you like left politics and comedy, and me is gonna deliver. I mean, I am going to deliver more of that. So why don't you subscribe to this channel right now and you'll never miss another show again. Ever again.